This tutorial, we're going to animate the Lex Luthor sequence for our movie titles. In my folder, I'm going to get the background element, and the file is much larger than our comp window because we intend to scale that down over time. I'm going to place it roughly in the center. I'm going to put my playback head at the beginning of the timeline. I'll select my clip in the timeline and hit S for scale. I'm going to add the first keyframe for scale. I'm going to leave the proportions of it 100%. I will advance to 14 seconds. At 14 seconds, I'm going to scale this down so that it fits inside the window. And the size can be approximately 25%. Now, if I play through my timeline, my background scales in. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the timeline and I'm going to punch in 2 seconds. As you recall, we were leaving 2 seconds static in the beginning of each sequence so we could composite all the subsequent clips together afterwards. I'm going to get the close-up of Jesse Eisenberg and I'm going to put it in the middle of the screen. I'm going to hit S on the keyboard and we're just going to scale this down a little bit so we have a little bit more of his face on screen. I think I'll make the scale about, maybe 55%. And it's going to start off on the left-hand side. So I'll click and drag and then hit the Shift key as I do to keep it level. On his clip, I'm going to change the position over time, so I will hit P. And in my timeline, next to the word position, I'll click and add the first keyframe at the 2-second interval. I'm now going to advance to second number 5. And at second number 5, I'll click on the picture and shift and drag it back onto the center of the screen. Now I want him to be more in keeping with the same green that our background element reflects. Now with his clip selected, I'm going to go to Effect, Color Correction, and I'm going to choose Tritone. I'm going to click on the color box, the tan middle tone color picker, and I'm going to click on the eyedropper tool in the color picker, and I'm going to roll it out into my document window, and I'm going to get a light value green from the background element. Once I have a green that I kind of like, I'll click on it, and now I'm going to make it a little bit lighter, so I'll move my color picker up towards the left-hand corner. And as I do, I can make the green a little less intrusive. If you want to punch in the exact color that I'm using, here in the color picker, you'll see 7BCA59. Now that we have Jesse Eisenberg completed, we want to bring in the little Superman figure. So if I was to go back to my Project tab, the third element that we will be introducing to our composition will be the kneeling Superman. So I'm going to drag him onto screen, and we're going to make him smaller first. So I'm going to hit S on the keyboard, and then let's drop his scale down to 55% as well. And he's going to come to rest in the lower right-hand corner. I'd like him to slide on after Jesse Eisenberg has come on. So I'm going to drag on his clip until it comes to the second key frame for Jesse Eisenberg. So that time position is 5 seconds. So at 5 seconds, we will place the Superman in the lower right-hand corner. I want him to slide across and come to rest from the left-hand side of the document. So at 5 seconds, I will click and drag him off to the left. I will hit P for position. I'll put the first keyframe in, and now I'm going to advance to second number 8. I'm going to drag him back on screen, holding the shift until he's on the opposite corner. Now that we have Superman on screen, we want to put kind of a green rain effect going at the same angle as the crystals in our background element. So to do so, I'm going to go to Layer, New, Solid, and I'm going to make it a default black. And I'm doing that so that I can drop the black out once I get the green rain that I want by using blend modes. I will click OK and my document will be hidden for me. I will now go to Effect and I will go to Simulation, CC Rainfall. And you'll start to see some white lines on your screen. I'm going to go over, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the opacity to 100% in the left-hand corner where the effects channel attributes are now. And I'm going to move my file for a moment because I want to get the green that appears in the background. So I'll click on the eyedropper tool next to the color tab, and I'll roll over and I'll select a green from my document. Now if the green seems to be a bit dark, which it is, I will now click on the color picker itself, and now I'll just drag towards the upper left hand corner of the color picker, and as I do, the green will get lighter in value. Now if you want to use the same green I'm using, you can put in 7FF165. I'm now going to cover the document again with that black layer. I'm going to go over and I'm going to change the wind direction. If I was to drag to the right, the wind direction goes from left to right. If I drag to the left, it goes from the upper right to the lower left. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to change the angle to -2000. And then I'm going to get a blend mode that will suit my needs. So I'm selecting the layer, and if I hold the Shift key down and hit plus on the keyboard, it will go through all the different blend modes. And I'm looking for one where I see my image the way I want and I see the rain. Now, I've got a particular blend mode that I'm using, and I'm going to check my modes to see what I've chosen, and I've chosen Add. Now, if you want to choose it directly, you can go to Layer, Blending Mode, and then you can click on the word Add, and you'll be able to see your imagery through the green rain that we've created. Now, at this point, you can always change the angle of the rain, perhaps so it's more closely at the same angle as the crystals in the background. The last thing we need to add now is the text for his name. So I will go up and click on the text tool, and in the right hand corner I'm going to make sure that Myriad Pro is selected. I'm going to choose bold. I'm going to hit my cap lock, and I'm going to type in Jesse Eisenberg's name. I've changed the point size to 45, and now I'm going to place it in the lower left hand corner of my document. I'm going to put a red stroke on the edge of it. So with my text layer selected, I will go to the right hand side to the attributes, and in the open box next to the font name, there are two boxes, solid and then the open box like an Illustrator. I'll click on it. I'll click on the color picker. I'm going to put in 100% red. I'm going to choose 2 pixels for the weight of the stroke, and I'm going to choose all fills over all strokes. I'm now going to animate the name onto screen. And I'd like the name to come on the screen after Superman is in his corner on the right. I'm putting my playback head at 8 seconds, and I'm going to move the beginning of my text layer to 8 seconds. And I'm going to open up Position and Shift S for scale. Now I'm going to set the first keyframes for that. Now I want it to come to the lower left-hand corner, so I'm going to begin it in the upper right. And I'm going to start by making the scale 0 there. I'm now going to move 3 more seconds to 1100. And 1100, I will return the scale back to 100%, and I will drag the text to the lower left-hand corner. Now as I go through my timeline, first comes on my large image then comes on the smaller Superman, and then the text. Now I want to put an echo on the text, so in order to do so I have to put it in a pre-composed layer. I'm putting the playback head at the beginning of the text layer at 8 seconds. I've selected the text layer, and I'm going to go to Layer, Pre-composed Layer. I'm going to make sure that Move All Attributes is checked off. I need to hide that rubber band and those keyframes in order to have the echo work properly. I will now click OK. I'm going to edit that layer, cut it at my 8 seconds, just for the visual reference so I know where it actually begins. I'm going to drag my playback head through time to about second number 9 or 10, and then I'm going to go to Effect, Time, and then Echo. And in the upper left-hand corner, I will change the echo time to -0.3. The number of echoes will be 5. I'm going to make the decay 0.6. And I'm going to choose the echo operation, composite in front. And I will save. Now if I put my playback head somewhere after, say, at second number 14, and I define my work area there, I can now put my playback head at the beginning, tap the space bar, and preview the finished composition.